Sniffin Glue, the magazine that Mark set up to reflect punk music, was an overnight success. Unlike established music papers, Mark and his friend Danny Baker were frequently critical of the punk bands and encouraged their readers not to idolise them, but to form one themselves.
You know, anything you do, you've got to have a base, you've got to have one thought going through each of the minds in the movement, and then you break away, which was like, oh, we're all on the dole, we want change. And then it broke away, but it needed that strength, otherwise you wouldn't have had a Clash, you wouldn't have had a Pistols.
But we've got no pride like this dopey working class sort of thing, oh, over this way, everyone. If people ain't, I ain't got any sympathy with people around my way. If they ain't got any idea, you know, what's going on, if they can't be bothered to get out of the office and fed, we ain't got no sympathy with them. We're not trying to liberate the old generation, we've got no dopey illusions like the hippies having tomorrow, we're all ruling the country, nothing like that. As long as people in this country are trying to stop us doing what we're doing, and that's the main thing.
The National Front can walk anywhere in London, they can go through the streets, they can do anything. It's ain't a dig at any party or saying, well, one side of the fence or the other. But what they can walk through the streets and any party, the socialist workers can gather and say this against them, and the Sex Pistols try and get them again. Oh no, we're not having them, but we'll have these walk through the streets because they're an acceptable evil. But the other mob, we're just a bunch of idiots who don't know what to do, so spit on old ladies and whatever it is, you know? You don't get many rich kids going to school taught for 15 years that, you know, a success is having their own window in a bank, right? It's just if you're from that part of London and you're in that background where you go to a school where they don't know your name, you know, and you're in them kind of schools where they've got no teachers, you see the same teacher maybe 2-3 weeks and they're gone, you've got classes where they just say, read this book. All you're trained for is to be in a factory at the end of 20 years, and that is the biggest insult to me, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about form of rock and roll music, I'm talking about spitting on grannies. I'm just not going to have that about, you know, and people are just taking me for that. I mean, I've fair dues. I mean, I had no hard broken family, I had no hard like the school. I mean, I was top geezer in that school as far as blah blah went. I got this first, that first. And then, I said, what do you want to do? Well, we've got an opening here in, like, you know, Nat West. You can, 40 years' time then, just think you could have your own car and a nuclear family. Well, cheers, Jim, you're chucking me in at the deep end, I want that. I had a tie pin on the other day, just a paper clip, right? Just a paper clip. And some bloke came and said, oh, yeah, you know, good typing. And I said, it's only a paper clip, John, do you want it? Oh, it should be in gold, won't it? So what are you talking about, should be in gold? You're treating my life as a game. It's this week's trend, it's this week's fad. Punk rock, right? And as long as I can kick them people in the arse, I'm just going to get over their nose and fucking have them. Because they deserve it, right? They just treated me, I'm a nothing, and they're on this level, right?
From left to right, Danny Baker, editor of Sniffin Glue, with Mark P., creator of Sniffin Glue, and Chris Needs, editor of the rock magazine Zigzag. Sniffin Glue was the first punk fanzine, a cheap homemade magazine that encouraged every kid to write his own. Mark explains how he first thought of it.
I listened to the Ramones record, right? And I just thought it needed to be written about in my own way, you know, because I didn't think it was being done justice by the press, you know. They've been knocked about for being a comic band, you know. I just felt they should be written about, so that's why the first Sniffin Glue came out, about the Ramones. The guy read it and he said, well, put it out as a fanzine. I mean, I've got a big collection of fanzines anyway, so fanzine, I didn't invent fanzines, you know, fanzines have been around for a long time. I just thought of a, you know, punk rock fanzine.